Welcome to this video. In this lesson, we talked about the set entries method. Don't forget that we start talking about sets in JavaScript, what sets are, how to create them using the new set constructor, and we start talking about some of the methods by which you can work with set elements in JavaScript. So this lesson will be taking a look at another method. We've talked about the add method, we've talked about the new method, we've talked about a couple of them like that. So let's move on and talk about the entries method in JavaScript when working with sets. The entries method returns an iterator with value pairs from a set. So when you use an entries method with a set, it returns an iterator with value pairs, which means that it is expected to return double value with the first value and the second value as pairs from your set. So let's take a look at an example in the code editor so that we understand what this is clearly. So here we are talking about the JavaScript set entries method. And let's say the entries method returns an iterator value pairs from a set. So let's dive in. So I'll go ahead and then make the first set, which is going to be letters. I want to use letters because we've been using letters. So let's use letter again. So here is an example of a set. So my set has just three elements, A, B, and C. Now, I want to get all entries. So since it returns an iterator, so I can make an iterator variable, then pass in my set and the method to the set. And I can then say list all my entries. And then I want to loop over all the entries so that I can get the actual one out. So I will just put an empty element of where I want the output of my set to go. So then I can loop over it. Const k of, it could be anything. Const so what is my method entries? This is actually iterator, sorry. Okay. Then here I can add my empty element as where I want the output of my set to go. And here I want to get out an output. And now, if you take a look at my screen here, you can see that each of the elements of my set is being returned as a value pair. You can see that A, B, C is what you can see right there on my screen, which means that the definition of what an entries method is that it returns an iterator with value pairs from a set is clearly defined this way. You can see that it returns value for an instance of elements of a set, and that is the reason why you are seeing this here on the screen right now. So this is how the entries method works in JavaScript. So this is an example that we just add here. So an empty text variable to hold the values of the iterator, and then I just looped over it, const entry of iterator. So this is the iterator where the entries method is passed. So this could be anything. So I can change it to hex and it will still work. Just hold on, and then here you can see it will work. So it could be any number, it could be k, it will still work. So what you have here is not as important as what the actual looping is doing, which is this of iterator. So once you are iterating over this variable here, what is here could be anything, and it will still give you an output at the end of the day. So this is one example. Let's take a look at another example. So I will take this off and I will make the same array as well. Letters equals new sets. And then this is my set element. Now I want to list all the elements. So I make an empty variable to hold the value, and then I can just loop over what I have here. So I'll use X this time around. So this example is just a shorthand of what we had just now. So, instead of going line by line, first assigning the first declaring a variable and then passing the method to your set, you can do it directly this way without first doing that, unlike the first example, and just loop over it directly with the values that is contained in the element of your set. And with this, you can just proceed and add the values that's gotten from that iterator to this X that you have here. So like I said in the previous example, that this could be any number. If you put Z here, and it will still work. If I change this for X, so it will still work. And then once you have this, then you can get the output that belongs to your that belongs to the element of your set out from this. So get element by ID demo1 dot inner HTML equals the value of text. And now you can see this. So if I have more elements here, so let's say I have D, as it is, I have E. So this is how it will continue to iterate, which means it will continue to loop. So this exactly is the for of method that is running over the element of this set, and that is generating what you can see right here on the screen as the output. So this is how the entries method works in a JavaScript. Now, before we move on, there are things to note about the entries method. Now, the entries method is supposed to return a key value pair from an object, like you just saw now, that it's always return a value pair, which means it will return elements and an instance of that element. A set has no keys, so the entries method returns value. So because set does not have keys, unlike array that have keys, that you can say this is equals to that, maybe name equals to John, age equals to, and then name and age will be keys, and John and 30 will be the values of that array. In set has no key, so there's nothing like that in set. So instead, the entries method, instead of returning keys, just return value, which means that you return the value side by side twice. This makes sets compatible with maps. So if you remember when we talked about maps, so you see the similarity between both of them. Thank you, and in the next lesson, I'll see you again.